Hey, it's my friends from the Czech Republic.
Hello, Rhett. Nice to see you.
Hi, Rhett. Nice to see you again after a long time.
Yeah, the team is back. It's hard to believe that the three of us went to West Africa and made a movie. In the spring of 2023, I had contacted you guys for the first time, and you told me you're going to do this trip to Africa, and that like totally piqued my interest because I knew you guys from YouTube. I really respected your work, and you said you're on a
Thank you.
a mission to catch these mambas, and I was like, I have to go. This sounds like too much fun, and as a wildlife filmmaker, someone who produces documentaries, I'm like, man, this could be a really great opportunity. So
Yeah, definitely. It was a really great decision. And what was extremely interesting for us was the fact that Red basically told us that he wants to film us doing our work and filming snakes, finding snakes. That was very surprising because usually people try to get a lot of information from us, or they try to join us because they also want to find snakes,
Or they want their own footage of those snakes. But this was different.
this was really really special because we realized maybe what we do is actually interesting. So it was really interesting for us to meet Red, and I think the cooperation went extremely well, and it was really really great to spend time together.
yeah, up until that point, I had really only had a one phone call with you guys and messaged you a couple times on social media, but that's it. We had never met before, and that was like February, and
Yes.
in March we were there. And the first time I ever met you was at the airport
Yeah.
in Africa. And but Mate, why did we choose to go to Togo specifically? You said West Africa. I take it these snakes can only be found in West Africa, but there's Ivory Coast, there's Benin, Burkina Faso maybe. So why did we end up in Togo?
Well, before we even fly to some country and we try to find a certain species of a snake, there's a lot of preparation before. Sometimes it's half a year, sometimes it's a year of preparation. And one of the important things in some parts of the world are local contacts. So, especially in Africa, you can't just walk wherever you want. It's not safe in some areas to search for snakes at night with headlamps, for example. So you need to find local people who are able to help you, who have some experience with searching for snakes or catching snakes. And in West Africa, you don't have many options. So we had some contacts in Togo, and that's why we realized, okay, this is probably the best chance how to find our main target species.
It's not easy to find somebody who is looking for snakes or who does some research about snakes in this part of Africa. Usually when we travel around the world, we try to contact some scientists or some snake rescuers or researchers and so on. But here there are no people like that. So we contacted some snake catchers who catch snakes for export mainly. So their perspective about snakes was different than ours. And that was maybe a difficult thing, how to cooperate together But it was great that we could share our experiences, our points of view. But slowly, day by day, we built some friendship and some understanding. So we were able to cooperate well for the whole trip, I would say.
I remember these first steps in the river. I was a little worried. When we first went there, I thought it's like, oh, it's only going to be ankle deep. And then all of a sudden, it's waist deep. And the first step was quite muddy.
So were you a little bit afraid how things will go?
Really didn't want to drop that camera in the river on the first day. I'll tell you that much.
I can imagine.
But 5 minutes later, we found a mamba, and all of those fears went away. I was like, wow, we did it.
Yeah, it's not common that you find your main target in 5 minutes after being in the habitat.
Yeah, it was a great start and a little bit surprising, I would say, because finding mambas is never easy. It sometimes takes days, and this was just straight after we went into the river. So it was the best possible start, and we had enough time to look for more after we got the first one.
Yeah, you can see that one there. It's got a little flaky scales. And yeah, you guys were after one that wasn't so sheddy looking. You know, we want the good specimen. Yeah, Susanna, what's it like? You know, we going in there expecting maybe to find one, and here we are, we found a bunch of them, and we could kind of choose which ones were the best to film.
Yeah, usually we are happy that we can have only one individual of the species we are looking for, but this time it looked like we were able to choose great local people who knew the best spot for mambas. So we were lucky to find more. I'm not even sure how many we saw, like 5 maybe. We were not trying to catch all of them because it wasn't necessary. We never want to stress snakes more than it's necessary. So if we already had our mambas and we saw another one, we were not trying to catch it. So I think we saw at least five individuals. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely 4, probably 5 individuals. And some of them we just observed and we just let them be.
Yeah, some of them were too high up in the air. We couldn't really reach them. So I remember we snuck up to a few of them and just like, all right, let's set the camera up and we'll get some
In situ shots.
Yeah, in situ shots. It was cool. But I really enjoyed seeing the way that they catch snakes differ from the way that you catch snakes. And, you know, there's 2 groups of people that have been catching snakes forever kind of learn something from one another. And not only that, it seemed like you'd put them at ease with handling snakes maybe a different way. They know how to hunt snakes and catch snakes because they're in the business of exports and the pet trade. So what was the snake of choice that they were exporting?
Well, the main species for export in Africa is the ball python, and it's incredible how many snakes were exported from Africa in the past. And the important thing to say is legally, it's not illegal. So I think it's estimated that from 1997 to 2018, about 3.6 million ball pythons were exported legally from Africa. It was important for us to show them that somebody can come to Africa to find this species, film it, take some photos, and then release it back to the wild.
Yeah, because we have feeling that it's not really necessary nowadays to export so many snakes out of nature. They can breed nicely in captivity. It's easily possible to buy captive bred ball pythons nowadays. But which is surprising for me, people still wanna wild snakes. They wanna buy wild snakes, and surprisingly, they can be even cheaper than captive bred ones.
pet trade is only one of threats which ball pythons in the wild have to face. Another problems are habitat loss and deforestation. But we were really happy to see that here in Togo, these ball pythons can thrive even near people, even in rural areas with many crops. And if you check this crop, you can see that people are burning it, but just locally. So ball pythons can even escape if the fire is coming. So even the way how people take care of their crops can be crucial for those animals here. So hopefully ball pythons can live here together with people in peace for many more years.
Yeah, I mean, you say there's a difference between live and captive bred, but I remember filming you guys filmed this ball python, and it seemed to behave pretty similar to how a captive bred one would.
I think it's very important how you approach the animal. And so it depends on your approach how the whole situation will happen. We try to approach snakes slowly, gently. The scene you saw with the ball python is a very typical film session for us. The snake is moving naturally, and that's the behavior we want to film. So we use tools, we try to understand the animal, respect the animal, and that's how we get our footage.
And we can say that about all snakes, about snakes in general, because of course we have to catch snakes if you want to film them. It's very difficult to film snakes in situ. Sometimes you can do that, and we try to do it as much as possible, but in many situations you really need to work with the snake, handle it a bit if you want to get some footage. But you can do it safely for you, safely for the snake, gently, with no harm to the animal, and then the animal feels comfortable and behaves naturally in front of you.
So Susanna is now coming closer to the snake to get some macro shots, details of the head. It's always very important to read the behavior of the snake, because when you come close, of course, you are entering the private space of the snake. No picture is worth, risking your life. So if you stay calm, if you approach the snake slowly, calmly, it's gonna be safe for you and the snake also.
We want to show these pictures, like a little bit artistic pictures, to public, so many people can appreciate snakes, and we try to show those pictures on some exhibitions and on our social media. Okay, it's a really beautiful snake. Mambas have very big scales on the head. That's what makes them really special, I would say. I really like that this one has also black edges on those scales, and it looks like a cool net on the head. And the combination of black and bright green color is just stunning.
Yeah, I love snakes so much. It's one of my favorite animals to film. I go all over the world too filming animals, and it's always like if you get a snake, it's extra special.
It's the best,
And
right?
then- yeah, it's the best because they're not that easy to find. And so it's like, okay, you did something today if you got a snake.
Yeah.
And so, again, the opportunity to work with you guys and be so close to those green mambas and be able to get footage of them, huge honor. And I can't thank you enough.
Thank you. Yeah, and maybe I'm just curious, which of those snakes was the most beautiful for you from Togo? I mean, I never asked you, so I'm curious. Which one was your favorite?
This black-necked spitting cobra to me was my favorite because it was so difficult. And I'm pretty happy with my results. That thing was squirming around all over the ground, spitting. and I'm shooting it on a 500 millimeter lens, and somehow I managed to keep most of that stuff in focus. And it was not easy. So that's a scene that could have gone a lot of different ways in the documentary, but I'm glad it went the way that it did.
I really like the shot when the snake is moving and it clearly goes towards you, and it like nicely shows that I reacted and took it with a hook, and it really shows how you need to be focused when you work with venomous snakes, and how you need to react in seconds, and how your decisions, can make a difference. So I'm really glad that you managed to kind of like, show the whole scene, what's happening there, because you often see just those beauty shots, let's say, where you see the snake spitting and so on, but you really managed to capture also the wider scene, like what's happening there, because there was a lot of movement around from the snake. It was not easy to make it stop, and sometimes it happens that the snake just decides, okay, I'm going there, and you are not expecting it. So we all three had to be really focused a lot. You really filmed the scene nicely, so the viewer will have an idea what's really happening, and how those nice shots are being filmed.
Yeah, of course, even in Togo, not everything went as we planned. We hoped for something to happen differently, but we never lied about it, and we were always honest in the whole documentary.
Yeah, because we're being honest. Sometimes we encounter things and see things we don't necessarily want to see. And that has to become part of the movie too, right? It's all part of it. It's all part of the experience. And I remember the experience of going to this voodoo market. You guys had told me about it, so I guess I had it in the back of my mind. But when we finally showed up there to start recording, it was a whole nother world that I was not exactly prepared for.
The amount of dead animals and carcasses, I think that was the most difficult thing for me to handle, because you just realize the scale of the whole thing.
Yeah, but again, it's difficult. It's lack of medical care in this part of the world, so people try to find their own way how to heal sicknesses, and this is what they believe can help. It's a difficult topic.
Yeah, that's what I really admired about how we approached this film. We weren't afraid to show the good and the bad, but as long as we're being honest and not pretending that we're seeing something that's not there, it worked out.
Yeah, so for none of us, it was a nice experience, or like pleasant experience, to be on this market. So Red, why you decided to put it into the movie?
For one, it just felt like we were in the jungle and in the nature the whole time. And I wanted to break that up a little bit and at least show a little bit of the Togolese culture. And it just turns out that was the only culture we could film in the city, was that voodoo market. But yeah, I wanted to show the contrast between the city life and the jungle life. The whole film was like all green. It was all leaves and snakes. But just like in relationships, you're not always eating dessert. There's some darker sides to it as well. And you can't leave those out.
So Rhett, I know that you were thinking about the name of the movie for a long time, and also the final story, which we see in the movie, took some time to build and to create. So what was your thought process, and how did you come up with the idea that it's going to be actually a documentary about human relationship?
Well, I always, from the beginning, wanted it to be about you two. It's very interesting to me seeing people behind the scenes do what they're passionate about. But when I started editing this thing, at first I was like, I want to make this message about hope. There's hope for the ball pythons because, the people are learning more about how to keep the habitat in a better condition. There's hope for these gaboon vipers because we're releasing them back into the wild. These mambas have a home at the river. So that was my original idea, but when I started editing, I realized it's hard to keep that message of hope throughout the whole thing. You kind of get sidetracked. But then I noticed, if I watched this scene again and I replaced the word snake with relationships, the scene has a whole nother meaning. You think you're talking about snakes this whole time, but really you're talking about what it's like being married. It's difficult to communicate. It's difficult to have patience and work with your partner, just like it is with a snake. I remember I was cutting this scene, consistency, and I realized, that's exactly what's happening here. And so I went all the way back to the beginning. I'm like, okay, what little sections is this thing trying to explain? Both in a way that you guys are working with snakes and both in a way that is telling a story about relationships. Because it's difficult, people have a hard time relating to going to Togo and catching venomous snakes that could kill you. But most people can relate to being in a marriage or being in a relationship or trying to take pictures with their phones about this cool thing they're doing, right? And so that's what I really tried to harness, is relating this to as many people as possible.
If you do something for years, it might start to be a routine. Working with deadly venomous snakes should never become too much of a routine. You should always have respect for the snake, and you should realize that you're working with a potentially deadly animal. This is really important. I always have huge respect for these animals. I'm happy that even after years of doing this, I'm never becoming too used to see venomous snakes around me.
Yeah, and a good thing is that we are both of us there, two people, so we can remind each other that we still have to be focused on the snake, even if we've been doing this for 100 times before.
So Mate, we were very calm around the snakes, and I noticed, when you guys were working with the snake would almost be more interested in me, right? Because I'm behind you guys trying to get all the angles I need to make this documentary. And if I moved too quickly or tried to set up the tripod, I know it could get kind of dangerous for you guys, right? Because you're right in front of that mamba and I'm in the background. So I really had to train myself to be slow, deliberate movements, not move too fast, not get in a hurry, but really make sure I wasn't making any threatening gestures towards the snakes as well.
Well, it's important to know the biology of the animal you work with. So obviously with mambas or many cobras, they are very visual snakes, so they react to movement a lot. During situations when we were filming the mamba and you were behind us, I was focused on the snake. And when you moved and the snake was looking at you, if I don't move, then the snake is not going to do anything bad to me. So if you don't threaten them, they don't want to harm you. So for me, it's very natural that I'm calm around snakes, because I respect them and I know that the encounter will be the best for both the animal and me if I'm calm. So there's no need to be nervous. But it's interesting to hear from you that you had to a little bit adjust your movements, and it's nicely visible that you started to think about filming these animals and being close to them, and you started to adjust your behavior, and that's great, because I think your goal was the same as our goal, to get nice footage and to have a nice, respectful encounter with venomous snakes.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure as the filmmaker to cover the scene well, get all the sound bites, get all the angles, get all the various cutaways of the snakes and of you guys and all the things. And you got to move quick to get all these things done before the sun goes to the other side of the sky. And in our case, we didn't want those snakes out in the heat all day either, so there's the other added pressure of like, let's get this done before it gets too hot outside. But just like you said, at the end of the day, it's important to get the natural behavior and film this scene the way that it's actually happening. And so I didn't want to ruin that by running around and scaring the snake. And so, yeah, I had to adjust a little bit.
Yeah, and what I appreciated a lot is that you never pushed us into anything. You just were there. You filmed what's happening naturally, but you never told us to do something or to pretend something, so we could be ourselves. And that's what I really like on your approach.
Yeah, for us, the most important thing was that we will not pretend that some things happened if they did not happen. We just present ourselves and snakes in a realistic way, and that's, I would say, the most important thing for us. That if you find a snake by a rescue call and somebody calls you and snake is in the house, we will not, create a scene where we find a snake in the forest, for example. And it's great that you were interested in the realistic approach which we do.
Yeah, it's the art form. I always say, it's like knowing enough to anticipate what's going to happen, maybe before you guys even know what's going to happen, being able to put myself in the right position, but also being open enough to being flexible with how I shoot this scene, or things happen and I reconfigure the shot list in my head of what I need on the fly. And I think that, plus the way the three of us work together, was the key to our success in making figures.
Yeah, we are used to work with animals and understand animal behavior, but I was really impressed how you can understand human behavior and how you can, as you said, you can anticipate what's going to happen in the scene, and you were also able to really guide us nicely when you wanted us to talk about the topic. You knew how to ask, how to kind of make us to speak about a certain thing. So it was really obvious that you have amazing experience working with different kinds of people and so on. And I think that helped also a lot, because as I said, we are usually alone somewhere in the rainforest or desert with a snake, or we film some wild animals, but this was the first time for us to work with another filmmaker who was basically directing us. So yeah, it was really amazing to see how you can direct the scene and how you can anticipate what's gonna happen.
The whole expedition was a really amazing experience. We had a lot of success, and here we are. We have a documentary which is a little bit about venomous snakes, but mostly about our relationship.
And I'm excited that people can finally watch this and see for themselves the whole movie. But you guys did such a great job. I'm glad to be able to call you two my friends, and I look forward to the next time we can meet up and maybe look for some more snakes.
We are also honored to call you a friend, and we had a great time too.
Thank you, Rhett. We enjoyed filming figures. We are enjoying seeing the journey of the movie, and we are looking forward to show it to even wider public.
So I encourage you, if you're interested in watching people, interested in watching snakes, visit the Living Zoology YouTube channel or visit figuresfilm.com to watch the full movie.